And we are on. Hello and welcome to Sports Unhinged. I'm Mo and I'm here with Yujita and Coach. We missed you guys last week because I tried out for the Panthers practice squad at the O-line position, and I realized
it's a bit drastic to avoid a podcast breaking your hand.
I know, right? Right. But I'm back. It's just the annoying part is the cast is keeping me in this yes position, but my team is not giving me a reason to
keeping
do that.
You upright. Yeah.
And you're right-handed, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm right-handed, yeah. So I'm okay.
That's good.
Okay.
So there's still you can still write, and there's pleasurability there, so you're still good.
No, that's left. That's the left hand. Yeah.
All right, let's get started, guys. I think we have a lot has happened. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. I tried to get through that with a straight face.
I got him.
All right.
A lot has happened in the NFL in the last 2 weeks, but I think what I want to open with, Yujita, is the Eagles no longer undefeated, a 32-21 loss against an unexpected Washington Commanders. What happened there? Did the Eagles just, come down to earth to refuel, take a quick nap, and then fly again, or have we clipped a wing there?
Hey, I did say that we lay an egg here or there in the last stretch of the season, and I'm glad it happened at the top of it. Look, you got to give it up to Washington. They did multiple things that were right, and one of them was the run game. The Eagles' run defense has been nothing but crap for the last, I think, 3 weeks of 140 plus yards. I mean, you saw it in the Houston game as well with David Pierce, and the thing was that the yards per carry was something like 3 or 3.1, but this continuous, relentless punching it just wore down the defense, kept Hurts on the sideline. And so when Hurts was back on the field, what did he try to do? He didn't try to run the ball either. He wasn't doing the RPOs that we're really good at. He was just trying to fling it, see what happens. And that didn't work. Less than 100 yards on the ground for the Eagles, which is their forte. And that's the first time since week 2 or 3. So I think Washington with Tyler Heineke, they saw film, they did well. The Eagles made mistakes, which they haven't done much of during the season. They capitalized on that. Yeah, you could say there were a couple of calls that went against them, but that didn't really make a difference to the game itself. It was all on the Eagles. But I think now that they know where the weakness is, which is the run defense specifically, they've gone and got another Command Sue now. They've signed up Linval Joseph.
Yeah,
that's 300 plus pounds on that line, which we'll need because guess who's coming to dinner next? Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. That's all lined up.
Wow, that's quite a lineup coming for the next 4 weeks.
It is quite a lot of great dinner there. So I like that they've done that. I think Jonathan Gannon will have to mix it up on the defense a little bit, maybe dial up some blitzes as well. But I mean, it was good. It's a wake-up call.
Are you worried, or is it just you chalk it up to a bad day at the office?
I will be worried after the Colts game if we still have this issue on this run defense and they use it to the advantage. I will still have an issue. Matt Ryan isn't a bad quarterback, so he might try to enforce that. Well, I will be worried after this week. So far, I'm all right, I think.
I think the key to that game was turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean,
the mistakes, I
mean, yes, they did a good job pounding it and running it, and that kept the ball away from Philly, which is a great strategy. But at the end of the day, when they were driving, they'd have a turnover. The turnover there at the end where he catches the ball on a single seam on a double post and then fumbles it. So
he got up. I mean, if he stayed down, Watkins stayed down, might have been all right.
But just don't. Those are just fluke mistakes, and that's why we always say, teams lay an egg. So
apparently there was one person that bet over $300,000 on the Eagles to win a $60,000 bet, and it was one of the biggest bets of the week, and ended up losing it because of this unexpected loss. Yeah, so there was it was all over the news. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more
sweating,
about...
Coach. I see you sweating.
That's not me. While we're on the Eagles, I have a question for both of you.
Sure.
And I've been saving it from before they lost, which is why I wanted to ask it, but we'll ask it anyway. True or false? Jalen Hurts has exceeded expectations more than any other player in the NFL.
Any
would say
other
that-
player than the
I think
NFL?
Don't
That's
forget
true.
Cousins, Tua, Geno Smith. Yeah, there's some dark
Yeah, I
horses.
think
in there, too.
considering
That's a
the
that's a
beginning
good
of the
question.
season,
That's
at the
a
beginning
very
of the
good question.
season, we weren't really talking about Jalen Hurts as a standout, player or a
Opposite of
potential
that,
MVP.
actually.
So I would
The
say
opposite
true.
of that.
Yeah, I would say true.
Yeah, but
True.
now that coach thrown names like Geno Smith in there,
Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins? How about
Kirk
Tua?
Cousins.
Tua?
No, Tua. Listen, Tua. I've liked him since last season. Look, it's Miami who messed around with his head last season,
Yeah.
and I always thought he was all right, and he's shown it. So I think between Geno Smith and Hurts, yeah, I'd say it's true though.
Good. And then my next one is one that has the true or false. Matthew Stafford has underachieved more than any player by expectation in the NFL. You got the guy from San Diego.
Yeah.
Get him. Yeah, there's some pretty good
I think the Raiders as well.
Raiders.
Carr?
Isn't that, yeah,
Their Carr,
is
yeah.
in that conversation.
Yeah. Matt Ryan, even we were pretty high on him going to
Yeah,
Indy. Everyone-
Matt Ryan as well.
Dare we
How
say
about
Aaron
how about
Rodgers?
Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson.
Absolutely.
Russell, I
Underachieved.
think no. So I would say false because of Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if we're looking at people
Aaron
that are
Rodgers?
underachieved, Aaron Rodgers is
said Aaron
probably
Rodgers,
number
yeah.
one. Yeah, and
And he
Russell
looked
Wilson.
so bad last night, but I know we're going to cover that later.
Yeah.
Yep.
So false on
A
that
good
one.
call. Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are my questions for the day.
Okay.
Are you done? All right.
All right. Now let's look at the next one, which is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Josh Allen as an MVP candidate, best player in the NFL. He's had a bit of a rough few weeks. A loss, 33-30 loss to Minnesota Vikings last week, and 2 interceptions, one end zone fumble in the fourth quarter and overtime. I can't believe I'm asking this question, Coach, but does Buffalo have a Josh Allen problem?
Well, the last 2 weeks they have. I heard someone say there's a difference between playing aggressive and playing reckless.
Yeah.
And I feel like especially the last game, a little bit in the game before, he was more reckless than anything. He even said in one of his press conferences, "Oh, I just threw it to the end zone because I knew that's what I had to do." Yeah, well, no, maybe not. If you look for a different outlet or maybe go run over somebody, I don't know. And I'm not second guessing.
Yeah.
But I also have an issue with some of the coaching calls. One of the things I've noticed is when they move the pocket and roll him out, he is gunslinging. He is looking, who can I throw it to? How far can I throw it? But when he stays in the pocket, it seems like he goes to his progressions a little more consistently.
Yeah.
So some of that could be play calling. Now, some of that could be defensive, right? When they load the middle or run a lot of twist under stunts, when everybody's outside and then the outsiders come in, that's clogging that middle. So maybe he's not seeing good. But that's what I notice. As we say, Jalen Hurts laid an egg. He's laid a couple of eggs now. They've had a couple of losses. As a team, I still believe in them as in the AFC, both East and total. But at the same time, their play calling's going to have to get better, and he's going to have to not be reckless but still be aggressive.
How about Ujita, that running play, that fumble in the end zone? It was a little bit weird. I mean, they could have given it to Singletary to try and get a few yards, but to do kind of a quarterback play like that, it was asking for trouble.
Look, but yeah, I think Minnesota had them confused at that line, and they didn't really have a play. And coming back to that point, what you say is right. The use of Singletary, even in the interceptions that he threw in the end zone, yeah, I don't know why they don't use that run game. I mean, just like Coach said, even with that fumble, they could have used a better play. If you guys go look back at those 2 interceptions, it's the same. Both of them have the same. He goes the same read. His first read is to the left pylon, and his second read is straight down the middle to Dawson Knox. So obviously they've saw film on him, and Patrick Peterson was all over this thing. Second read is, whatever cover it was, he was just slinging it. So.
Yeah. And
I think
how good was that catch by Justin Jefferson as well?
My goodness,
that was
catch
crazy.
of the decade.
He's on track for 2K this season for 2,000 yards. So far.
Even that throw from Cousins.
My God, what a catch!
But again, that throw from Cousins, that was the only read. I think it was fourth and 8.
It was reckless too, by the way.
It was reckless.
Yeah. The interception, that was pretty reckless.
It was 4th and 18. Okay. Game on the line, and he just went for it. There was no other read. He was just going to Justin Jefferson, come what may.
And it was Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure who from the Eagles. They both had the ball going down, and it was about who snatches it first. I mean, it looked really strange. Yeah, one arm.
I think it was Diggs, wasn't it?
Was it Diggs?
Yeah, I think it was.
No,
it was the Bills game. So
no, it was.
No, Diggs is. You're thinking of Trayvon.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was someone else.
But now, see, Minnesota are also 8-1. Coach, are they as legit as the Eagles, or have they just been opportunistic and found themselves 8-1 at the moment in the NFC?
All the one-score games they lost last year, they're winning this year. So
yeah.
Football karma's on their side a bit. I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins, but he does deserve a little bit of karma in his life in football. It seems like if there's a bad break in the last 5 years, he's gotten it.
Yeah.
And so, I don't mind it. I actually like to see it. I like when those chip on their shoulder, underdog type, pick on me kids or quarterbacks rise to the occasion. My goodness, they've done it 8 times now. Who have they lost to? Only Philly.
Yeah. Yep. And now it looks like they're on their way to winning their division for sure.
Look at the Bills. See their 3 games, the ones they've lost. They've lost to Minnesota, the Jets, and Miami. These are all 3 teams who are going for it all. Like, they do not give up. They don't know how to lose.
And I'll tell you something as a secret, as a coach. My very first head coach that I worked for, I was a coach, but I was like an assistant secondary coach at the time. I was just a kind of a walk-on coach. He said, "You will learn more about your team for the playoffs when you lose early in the season." And I thought about that when the Bills lost these last 2. I thought about that when Philly lost. I think that's wonderful statement from him. Shout out, Coach.
Excellent. Now,
hey, Coach.
Green Bay they had an impressive win against Dallas. Again, a questionable 4th down call there by McCarthy, which he came out and stood by as well. But Green Bay went and won the upset, so to speak, only to lose to Tennessee just this morning, last night, Thursday Night Football, and go down to 4-7. For me, I think this was a must-win for Green Bay. Is the season over? Because if we look at it now, the wild card spots are probably going to be taken by the NFC East, 1 or 2 of them. And you've got the West as well. So you've got the Giants at 7-2. You've got Dallas at 6-3. Is this it for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers?
What if I split it back to you? What do you think? Do you think this is it for him? Because I'll tell you, he loves playing on Sunday night, Monday night. He hates playing on a Thursday. He looks so disinterested. Mo, what do you think on the Green Bay Packers?
See, we're gonna talk about Tom Brady in a bit, and Tom Brady, something that we've learned is to never count him out. With Aaron Rodgers, though, I think it's a little bit different this year. I think his focus is not there. I don't think he's there 100%. I, for some reason, watch his appearance on the McAfee show every single week, and I just can see that he's not in it to win it this year. There's something off about him. I don't know if this is going to be his last year in Green Bay. It's looking more and more likely as we go along. There was a few clips of him arguing with LaFleur in the previous games. So for me, I think this is it. I think he's starting to lose the support with the fans. I think whenever we speak to Darla as well on our WhatsApp group, shout out to Darla. She tells us, that they're losing their patience with Aaron Rodgers. So for me, I think it's over.
So if you watch some of the stuff last night, not only did he not get in a tiff with his head coach or anyone, he didn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
In the Dallas game, even when it was going bad, his offensive coordinator was there. They were looking at the Surface tablets. You know, they were looking at this and they were communicating. He was a little upset, but he cared, and it was like, I just want to beat Dallas, or I want to beat Mike McCarthy. In this one, he had his hood on, he had his hat on. Every time they cut to him, no conversation. So he wasn't angry at anyone, or he wasn't pointing the finger. He wasn't nothing, or he was nothing.
Now, Coach, you shared an interesting graphic on our WhatsApp group. I'm going to put it up on the screen here that has a percentage playoff picture for every team's chances of reaching the playoffs. And Green Bay right now are at 11.9%. I think that's pretty grim, you know?
But it's also, I think it's high.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe that was before today's game. The Panthers are at 2.2%.
Yeah,
we can still
stay upright.
That was done last night, I think, if I remember right. And
yeah.
Now wait a minute. The Eagles were 99.9. Is that right?
Yeah, Eagles 99.9. I mean, it would have to be a really.
So they
big
could lose out and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now let's talk about Tom Brady on the other side. Tom Brady had his 21-16 win against the Seattle Seahawks. That was a very kind of close game, very difficult to pick between. I think had we had the podcast last week, it would have definitely been in our pick six. Tampa Bay are on a 2-game winning streaks, and it seems like things are turning around. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, it was all doom and gloom for Tom Brady. So, Yujita, I mean, is the legend of Brady alive again this season?
Yeah, man. A team that loses to the Panthers and then come back one divorce threat later. Look what has happened. All right.
It goes 4 podcasts ago. I said it. That personal life can get in your way.
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, this is one thing we talked about, how Brady's been this season. It's all about him trying to just throw the ball, see what happens. There's no run game. And that was the clear difference in this game. Their guy, what's his name? Rashad White.
Yeah.
I saw a stat where for the first 9 weeks, he'd done 117 yards in total. And in this week, he did 105 yards. So this is the big difference. So he didn't have to do it all. He could just trust on the run game. I think Seattle played a little soft corner, so he had enough space there in the underneath to get that going. And he played a real quarterback game. And he got the ball out quick. I think he leads the league in time to throw like 2.4 seconds. Right. So, and then I think the previous week also, we saw that last drive that was vintage Brady. I mean, it was a masterclass drive. I forgot they played in week 9, but I just remember that last drive. So yeah, maybe a little bit of this personal stress. I don't know. It's made life easier, but I mean, Tampa still. I mean, that South Division is still open for Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, they're 5-5 now. Atlanta are 4-6, and then Carolina, New Orleans are 3-7. So it's entirely possible for them to win it. Coach, in the graphic that you shared, they're about 74.4% chance of reaching the playoffs. But do you think that when they do, are they a one and done in the playoffs? Do they have what it takes to make a run there?
So I'm not sure. One of the things I looked at statistically was, other than Derrick Henry against the Texans a few weeks ago, this is the second highest rated offensive line run blocking as a unit in the NFL this season. So in that particular game, they were they were rated highest, other than the game with Derrick Henry. You know, that's saying something. That's really making a stand and saying, okay, we're going to do these things with our offensive line. We're not going to worry about crazy connections and Brady doing this and fan block this and watch the turf. Just come up, CCC, block the guy in front of you. You find a hole and go. Sometimes what do we say? Simplifying it. Sometimes that
simplify.
Helps. Yep. But if you think about it, also to be the second highest rated group as a running play offense, that doesn't need a great running back, right? There are also running backs that can do that. So we'll see. The issue I think I run into is if you look at who they might face. So they're probably going to be the 4th seed as a division winner. Yeah, so that means they've got to play the 5th seed as a wild card. Well, that could be Dallas, who is pretty darn decent against the run other than last week. That could be the Giants. They're really good against the run. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Because if you force him to throw and nobody's healthy, and this group doesn't pass block well on the front.
Yeah.
But he's got them back healthy, right? I think.
Yeah, I think they only have one guy out, which was, but that center's now played 5 games in a row once the main center went out. So I think that helps. And I agree. I think, listen, he's a masterful quarterback under center.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows he can see things that we don't know or understand.
Right.
And recognize them so fast. Peyton Manning had that gift or that ability. He has that gift and ability. One of the things I noticed in the German game, he didn't really try, like there were no first or second looks at 40 yards downfield, or corners or corner post or sticks. Yeah. He was really looking for getting some rhythm in the offense, getting enough of the line back, because it's common practice that if you can complete a few under routes or curls or tight end crosses, the linebackers will move a little farther off. That's what clears up your running game. Right? Not the super bombs. Okay, that's not what clears up the running game with the linebackers. So I was pretty proud of the offensive coordinator and that. So we'll see. I don't think they'll go far in the playoffs. No.
Yeah. Okay. So I think speaking of things, Brady sees things that we don't understand. We saw one thing from a couple of weeks that we still don't understand, or at least I don't, is the appointment of Jeff Saturday as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, an inexperienced coach. I think he's had a bit of high school coaching experience, and that's it. And better yet, they go on to beat the Raiders 25-20. Ujita, let's get started with this. What was your reaction to the appointment of Jeff Saturday? And it's a bit of a strange one, right?
Yeah, if we had this conversation last week, definitely was. Shocking to say the least, especially when they have people like Gus Bradley, John Fox, and these guys there available, and really, you got to think about what was the reason to let Reich go. I mean, I think his record is 40-33 and 1. And then when you look at it during this week, I think it comes to realization that, is it because of Carson Wentz? Did he vouch for Carson Wentz too much? And this is where Irsay and him had, whatever they had going. Now, Jeff Saturday has been a consultant. I think they tried to get him to be the offensive line coordinator for a couple of years. And then there was more shocking news when I think there was the assistant quarterback coach to call the plays during the Raiders game. People were shocked about that too. We've seen a lot of these franchises, delusional franchises over the last few years. Cleveland and Miami last year, maybe Panthers for a bit. But here comes Irsay saying, "Hold my bottle of meth that I've been drinking all this time," right? And just completely overhauls everything. Yeah, and but I think when Jeff Saturday came in, it might have been like, "Hey, I'll come in, but I'm not going to play your sabotage the season game, keeping Ryan out." That's whatever business decision you had. You don't want to pay him, what is it, $17 million if he gets injured next season. I'm not playing that game. If you want me in, I'll fix the O-line. I'm an expert at that. And the O-line did play well against the Raiders. Jonathan Taylor finally got going. I think 147 yards.
Right.
And Matt Ryan is back. So, it is shocking. I don't know how this pans out, whether he stays on or not. But definitely a shocker.
Coach, pull back the curtain for us a little bit here. When you have a head coach that is that inexperienced, right? And his experience is mainly on the O-line. You can probably fix that, but that's about it. Other than motivating the players and being kind of a player's coach, what role can he really play there as a head coach? So have you seen this scenario play out before, where somebody completely inexperienced takes over a very important coaching job in football?
Well, unfortunately, yes. I was on the coaching staff.
Okay.
The 7th game of the season. But just to your point, I think Ujitha and I could probably take the Carolina Panthers and beat Oakland or the Raiders at this point. Yeah, and we were the only two coaches in the building. No
Right.
offense. So there are times when I think head coaches get so caught up in improving the offense or
Right.
improving the quarterback play, the rest of the team slides or struggles or is not motivated or whatever. I think that might have got in the building a bit.
Right.
I read a great article where Irsay is the most look over his shoulder owner other than Jerry Jones in football. And so he's constantly thinking people are undermining him and trying to make him or his franchise looking bad.
They're out to get him. Yeah.
And so I don't think he trusted anyone in the building to take over his franchise. Fair enough. He's the billionaire. I'm not. Yeah. But yes, I have had that, and I've had the person who was named the coach have not the same amount of no experience as Saturday, but very close. And as it turned out, he was a great motivator. He was a great stand up in front of you and say, I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
Do your job. I'll just make sure you do your job. Where I think nothing against Frank Reich, by the way, because he is a
good football mind. Yeah. Yeah.
I think where the Colts struggled, and I'm being completely honest here, I think he thinks, and I think Irsay thought he could take any quarterback from anywhere at any point and win with the talent that they had. Right. And unfortunately, that doesn't work in the NFL. And so you take this quarterback, and they won a bit, but not enough. And then you take this quarterback. Oh, that's the quarterback. We're going to win. Not enough. All right, we'll ship you off to Washington. And then this quarterback. And at the end of the day, what wins games on the offense, or what, because I'm the defensive guy, what beats us on defense is when you take your quarterback and make sure that his skills are on display. Not making sure you run your offense and he's the guy. What can he do? He throws the 15 to 10 the best, or the 10 to 15 on the curls and the slots. Then design your offense around that. I think Frank Reich struggled with that, and I know Jim Irsay struggled with him struggling with that.
Yeah.
And that's why they fired the offensive coordinator. But at the end of that guy the head coach makes the decisions.
Right.
You know, that's the reason he has
the buck stops there. Yeah.
Headphones. So I don't know about Saturday. I struggle with this hire because I've lived through it. It was not fun.
Yeah, I can't imagine other more experienced coordinators or coaching staff respecting the head coach.
I had been 11 years with 3 years as the DC. So not that I was next in line, but I was the most logical choice. So maybe I was a little, butthurt because I didn't get at least an interview or talk to about it.
Right.
But go ahead.
No, I mean, what is to say that they didn't want the job? Gus Bradley or Reggie Wayne, or maybe they were offered and they didn't really want to take it.
At the end of the day, what is it they say? You play to win the game.
Yeah.
And the owner makes the decision on who he puts in place to help you play to win the game. I'll give Saturday credit, even though it was against the Raiders. He empowered people enough to play to win the game. And this the NFL. No wins are easy unless you play the Texans.
I mean, just looking back now, how bad was Andrew Luck's early retirement for this franchise? I mean, it just pretty much flattened them to the ground.
Maybe 6.
Yeah. I mean, the franchise they have been cursed, right? It was Andrew Luck, then the Josh McDaniel when they hired him, and then he quit like 2 days later.
Yeah,
they've had their issues,
happened too. Yeah,
that's exactly. And then go to the Raiders to play Josh McDaniels as well. So
he's still a loser. He's still a loser.
Yeah, speaking of Josh McDaniels, I mean, the owner Mike Davis came out and kind of backed him and said that we still trust in him. And Derek Carr came out in the press conference and had a bit of an emotional, I am so happy that our owner thinks so and that we can continue. You're 3-7. I mean, the Panthers were at the bottom of the power rankings before the start of the season. So we're pretty much meeting expectations at this point. But the Raiders, everybody was talking about playoffs and making runs to the Super Bowl, and they're nowhere close. So I don't know. Another one of those Belichick disciples not making it as head coaches. All right. Before we go to the pick six, quick question. about rookies this year. In your opinion, which rookies have made the most impact this year? Yujita.
I mean, I would definitely go with Sauce Gardner in terms of impact on the franchise.
Too much sauce, yeah.
Too much sauce. Brees Hall as well, I think. But yeah, I mean, in terms of impact, it's got to be Sauce Gardner. I mean, I don't think has anyone scored over 20, 25 points off the Jets other than New England, maybe. So yeah, he's definitely there. Chris Olave for the Saints.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
he's
what I
been
was
one
going
of
to say. Olave.
yeah. I mean, I think it's like something like 14.9 air yards per target. I mean, that guy's a reason. Can you imagine if Thomas and Landry and the guys were there in the Saints?
Oh,
I mean, that would have been a crazy offense.
So I'll go with my Houston guy. I'll go with Pierce. I think he's given us an identity. He's probably not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but if I just look at what he's done for the franchise, he gives us that bell cow running back. At least we know what we're going to do on Sunday. We may not be great and may not win enough games because we don't have enough skill players around him. But I think he was a pretty darn good pickup for us in the round that he went.
Excellent. I think I have to agree with the Sauce Gardner one. I mean, he was unbelievable, especially that game against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
He just pretty much kind of owned Aaron Rodgers. He
won the game by himself at times.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, forget rookie cornerback. I think he's probably the best cornerback in the league at the moment.
Yeah, definitely up there. All right. Okay, let's move on to our Pick Six segment. Obviously, we've skipped a week. You guys know the rules. 3 games every week. We pick against the spread. We pick against the over-under. 1 point for each correct pick and 2 points if you beat the expert. Now, these are the games from 2 weeks ago, and Coach
6 out of 6, baby. 6 out of 6.
So you had 5 out of 6. I got 6 points with 1 beat the expert, so you can call it 6 out of 6. Yujita with only 3, so I did catch up a little bit there.
Laid an egg, just like my Eagles. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, at the same week as well. So fantastic. 36 to 43. 36 to 43 is the score right now, and we move on to this game's 3 matchups. We start with the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Coach, what are the odds?
The New York Jets at the New England Patriots. The New
Englanders.
Those 9 Patriots are -3, over under 38.5. That's disrespectful to the Jets, maybe a bit. I wonder.
It is disrespectful to the Jets, but I don't know. I mean, the New England Patriots are coming off from a bye week. I saw the quarterback talking about what he did during the bye week. He did a full audit of all of his plays throughout the season. As somebody that comes from an audit background, that kind of resonated with me. So I'm going to say, despite the momentum that the baby Jets have, the New England Patriots win convincingly, 24-14 against the Jets, New England, and the under by just half a point.
Half a point. Ooh.
Yujita.
Wow, nice. Yeah, man, I just think the Jets have more talent in skill positions. I don't think Bill will be able to dial up. Look, the last time they won because of Wilson made some mistakes. Yeah. I think they'll correct those mistakes.
I'm done with Denver. I'm done with Wilson, by the way.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm done with him.
Well, that Wilson, this Wilson. I think the Jets have a bit more fire, in their locker room, and they really want to win. So I like that. So I'm gonna go with them to win it 2017. I'll keep it under as well.
So who wins in the Jets?
The Jets win it. Yeah, outright.
Okay,
they win it.
And
you'll keep the under 2017.
All right.
Interesting. There's just something about Belichick and 2-year quarterbacks or 1-year rookie quarterbacks. He just does what he does. I don't know how he does it. I analyze the games. I'm like, how did you know he was gonna and then not gonna and then do this when you made him flush this way? And he does. And it seems like it just happens. And I'm in awe of it. And I try to study it. So I've got to go New England here. But I got to be honest, guys. I like the over. I don't know why I like the over. Just because I think that's a little low. I can see this being like a 24-20 game, even though I don't do scores. So I will. I'll take New England, and I'll take the over.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. Yujita, some double point potential there.
Coming my way.
All right. Game number 2, the Washington Commanders at the Houston Texans. Coach, your Texans, what are the odds there?
Here we go. First time the Texans on the pick 6. Shout out.
Yeah.
I had to do the Commanders after beating the formerly undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. We've got Washington -3 on the road and an
Okay.
over-under 40.5.
40.5. Eugene, get us started with this one.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? This is where Lovey and Ron Rivera reunion from the Bears.
Yes, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Very
Nice.
Did he fire him in the Bears? This is Lovey Smith fired him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Revenge. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, Houston's forte is the run, and what I saw in Washington's run defense, I mean, they're pretty big up front. Even with 4 rushes, they can do it. It's going to be a battle for sure. Run game battle will be very close, but I still think Washington's going to win it, cover it, 24-20. What was the over? Was it 40? So I'll go
40.5, yeah.
40.5.
Yeah, 24-20. I'm going with the over.
Oh.
All right. This one, for me, I think is going to
sorry,
be...
unless they start Wentz.
No one left.
We
There's a
cannot have
caveat.
caveats
I'm
on our
doing
face,
caveat
unfortunately.
here, right?
Hey, bud, this is McDonald's here. There's no one left.
Yeah. All right. So no, from my side, I think it's going to be one of those weird games where by the end of the 4th quarter, you're on red zone and you're like, why does this game keep coming up on my highlights? It's unlikely that it will be a high scoring game, but I think it will defy those expectations. I think it's going to be some kind of a shootout. It's one of those 2 bad teams facing each other, slinging the ball, running the ball, defensive mistakes, pick sixes all over the place. So I'm looking for carnage. I'm looking for chaos. And I'm looking for Houston to win the game 35-29. So Houston and the over. I get a round of applause from Coach. Go ahead, Coach.
And me.
Unfortunately, you're not going to get double points here because I like Houston to win this game. I think Washington comes off a huge high, beating an undefeated team. They've got a few injuries that they're dealing with, unfortunately. And I just like how Houston runs the ball. Not that they're a great running team, and not that Washington is a bad running defense. It's just they run a lot of stretch 6s and stretch 7s. Right. So I'm going to go Houston in this one, but I am going to give you the under because I think both will try to really run the ball, just as Washington did against Philly, and Houston tries to do every week. So I'll go the under, but I'll go with you. Houston's going to cover and win.
Double points all around.
I can get double points on the under as well, on the other pick for Coach. Excellent. Game number 3. Let's go with the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings. Coach.
My Vegas surprise of the week here, Dallas at Minnesota. Dallas is favored by 1 point.
Also, it's a coin flip, basically.
Yeah, with Minnesota being 8-1, Dallas being 6-3.
That is
Dallas on the road, but they are favored at the moment by 1 point, over under 47.5. I had to put it in.
This is a really, really strange one. Usually you would ask, what does Vegas know that we don't about this particular game? But I think this one is just purely commercial. They're trying to put these kind of odds to confuse people into betting for the Dallas Cowboys. Probably trying to estimate Minnesota laying an egg like the Eagles did last week. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. So I'm going to go with Minnesota winning 34-11. I think Dak Prescott has a bad game. Zeke is coming back.
3 bad games in a row. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 34-11 to Minnesota. So Minnesota and the under, but I don't see it. I think we're being duped here.
I did this because I know Ujitha's going to pick Dallas, and I want it on for perpetuity.
All right, go ahead.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota. When have you ever known me to go with Dallas? Oh, my God. Even if Dallas was playing Dallas. Look, I'm sorry, but I think Minnesota, I like who's their coach, Kevin McConnell, whatever. I think I like what he's doing with the way his play calls. He's very kind of creative, and Cousins has now figured out how he can use the run game a bit to get Justin Jefferson going. And Dallas is a team that you can actually run on. They're not great at run defense.
Yeah.
So
Cook might have his day there, yeah.
or he uses play action with Cook. I mean, you got to be able to defend that ground with Justin Jefferson, and I don't know if Dallas can really do that. So I'm going with Minnesota. What was the over under?
47.5.
47.5.
I'm going the over 30-24 Minnesota.
Super. Coach.
Interesting, gentlemen. Interesting. So I see Dallas bouncing back from a very poor showing. I see Minnesota on the downers coming from a super high showing. So I've got Dallas covering.
Okay.
It's a toss-up. The over-under I struggled with because I think both can score when Dak's playing well. I'm pretty confident in the offensive play calling to let Cousins do what Cousins does well.
Yeah.
At some point, Justin Jefferson's going to have a bad game. I don't know if it's this one, but I feel pretty comfortable. So I'll go Dallas to cover, and I will go the under in this one.
All right.
Big points.
So we don't need the tiebreaker, but Chicago is at Atlanta. The game against Detroit last week, another close one, I think a 31-30. And Justin Fields did things that, yes, they lost, but he did things that are unbelievable in that game. So what do you guys see?
Go a game back. Didn't
so,
he have
the one time you're sick or you break your elbow,
and
we keep sick, and Chicago scores 30.
Yeah, I know they did score 30, right?
Yeah, and you're picking them to always to score this and score 28. But
yeah.
One time I lay it out for you. You're on the injured reserve, mind you.
Yes,
at the moment, Atlanta -3 over under.
Yeah,
Largest of the weekend, mind you, 50.5.
Wow. Okay.
I like the over in that. I actually like the over in that.
I don't think Atlanta can score that many points, so I'll go the under.
Well, they can't stop the pass, and they can't stop the run.
Yeah. And they can't stop Justin Fields. So I see Chicago winning big. I think it stays under because of Atlanta not being able to score. But I see Chicago doing a really good job.
They've been running 200+ yards on the ground, 5 straight games.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're going to keep doing it. So, but I like the over in this.
Okay.
Chicago wins, yeah.
Excellent.
I like Chicago. I don't think Atlanta can cover 3, even if it's close. I just don't see it. They just don't have it. Pitts hasn't been in the offense, and I don't know, since he was in college. So we'll see. I'll go Chicago here to cover, and then I like the over as well. I think
you like the over.
Should shoot it. So even though we don't need it, we'll see.
All right.
It's a strange time of the season where you think you can predict it, but you really can't.
Yeah, a lot of these teams that have lost a lot of games that have shown good form, and you just don't know which team is going to show up.
Green Bay, I mean, Dallas to Tennessee, I guess you were right. He was just out to show up McCarthy because he had a really good one last week.
He cared, and last night, man, he doesn't like Thursday games, was so disinterested.
Yeah.
No love lost for me, I have to be honest.
Yeah, we're kind of tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers. We keep saying that every week, but he keeps giving us a reason to talk about him, or at least to mention
That's what we like it.
Yeah.
Because he's a bad man.
No more Green Bay. That's it. We're going on a embargo for Green Bay.
Anti-Green Bay.
I can't believe we went the whole podcast without saying Kansas City.
Wow, yes.
No.
I was keeping score. I was checking. My statistician said, why do you guys not talk about Kansas City? What the hell, Dad?
Do you guys remember when we talked about the trades? I brought up Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming.
Oh, my God, the impact that he's made out there.
And they're going up against the Chargers this week, so it would have probably been a good game to talk about in the Pick 6 as well. But
Not really.
No?
Not really. I mean, Mahomes is playing at a special level right now.
It's automatic at this point.
Yeah,
right? It's automatic.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, and why is he not in the overachiever group that we talked about, true or false, earlier?
Because the bar is set so high.
He's at
Mahomes.
a different
he's
level.
done it without that guy in Miami. He's done it without that speed demon.
Yeah.
Well, we said that it's because of he not being there is what's made Kansas City better.
He's passing to more people now.
He might have the best offensive mind head coach in football.
True.
Absolutely.
All right.
No argument.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. and comment on whatever platform you're watching us on. This has been Sports
Yeah.
Unhinged.
At least have some sympathy for Muhammad's arm and comment.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Take care.
Go
See ya.
Blue!